Hello everyone, this is SixMix's, and today I'm bringing you a new Minecraft video. In this video, I will be continuing the Survival Let's Play series. In the previous episode, I built the shelter that you see here, as well as obtained some iron tools and a bow. The main objective we have for this episode will be to build a new house, so let's get going. The last episode ended up being quite a bit longer than I was anticipating, so for this one, I'm gonna shoot for about 20 minutes, give or take. So the first thing that I need to do for a house is to utilize the iron axe. I'm probably gonna need quite a bit of wood because that's gonna be the primary material for this house. For the longest time, I've been following a tutorial by YouTuber The Professional NoobTube for pretty much all of my houses in Minecraft. Considering that this is our own survival series, I want to try to do something a bit different, so this house is probably going to look really bad, but I want it to at least be my bad house rather than a good house that's just copied from someone else. Yeah, that's one of the things in Minecraft that's always been a bit of a pet peeve, the really large trees. I think that can be useful at times. Oh, I see another block up there. I think that can be useful at times, such as, for example, if you're starting off in a skyblock map, having a really big tree right off the bat can be super useful, but... Oh, I just saw that. I wonder where that guy went. Yeah, as useful as a big tree can be, once you've got a lot of materials, they become more of an annoyance than anything else. So I don't really know even how I'm gonna design this house, but I'd say that I probably am gonna want at least a stack and a half worth of wood logs, and probably a bit of cobblestone too. The cobblestone part I figure I can worry about later on. What is a question, though, is should I use birch logs for part of it? Or, well, birch planks, I guess? I do quite like the way birch looks, so that could be potentially a nice floor pattern to have. I'm not sure how many birch trees are in the area, though, so if I can only get a few logs, then it's not going to be worth it to me. So right now the sun is setting, and I'm considering just going to bed to get to daytime, but instead I think I'm going to do a little bit of mining down there. Hopefully it doesn't cost me in the end, but it would definitely be useful to have a little bit more iron. Yeah, see, there's some coal that I didn't get the chance to mine out in the previous episode, so I definitely want to take advantage of that. It's also a good way to get some experience early on, because when you mine enough coal, you can add up a decent amount of experience. Or should I say, the experience does add up over time. I don't know how long it's going to take to get diamonds and enchantment tables in this series, but it certainly doesn't hurt to have the experience early rather than having to wait till the last minute to get it. So for right now, what I think Oh, I heard a zombie somewhere. He sounds extremely close. I'm not sure if he's underground. I hope the sound isn't too loud for you guys. Oh, here he is. Oh, did he just drop a carrot? Nah, it doesn't look like it. Yeah, so I definitely want to get this little area torched up for starters. If I can at least just go into this area, you know, hey, maybe I can make it a special room, you know, I don't really know what I'd use it for, you know, maybe a decorative dungeon or so. I do actually want to eventually build some type of a prison in this world, where I'd have every single hostile mob inside their own little jail cell, I think that would be a pretty interesting idea, but I'm not really sure how possible that would be with certain mobs, such as the Wither and, you know, the Phantoms. I don't even think it would be possible for Piglins, because, if I'm not mistaken, as soon as they're in the overworld, after a few seconds, they'll turn into zombie pigmen. And yes, I know that the technical term is zombified piglins, but I really just do not like that name for them, you know? And granted, part of it is nostalgia, but just like, I don't know why you couldn't just name them zombie piglins, you know? That's a fair enough compromise to me. Zombified is just too many syllables for me. So I'm curious, what do you, as the audience, want? Oop. Well, that might be the end of the expedition, unfortunately. Unless I decide to go up and make another pickaxe, which I'll probably do. Ah, man, I thought that I had a little bit more iron there. I guess I gotta make do with a stone pickaxe, which I really don't like making, but beggars can't be choosers. Hopefully we'll find some iron pretty soon and be able to make at least a couple pickaxes. But what specifically, as an audience member, would you like to see in this series? Do you want me to skip over things such as mining and a lot of the building process? Or would you prefer it if I do show that in detail? It would definitely make for a slower-paced video, and I don't think I'd have as much to talk about during those slower parts, but, you know, if you want it, by all means, I'd be happy to show off some of that stuff. I can definitely see the appeal in getting the full experience rather than just a shortened version of it. It looks like the sun is starting to rise, and I don't have that iron yet, which isn't a very good sign. I don't want to waste daylight, so this expedition may have been a bit of a failure. It did get a good amount of copper, though, which is definitely a positive. Let's see, there might be something over this way, which is... Oh, I don't think I even saw this area. Yeah, I think that the Caves and Cliffs update was definitely great for the game. Caves had been just so boring for such a long while that having such a big overhaul on them was just so refreshing. You know, you went from these pretty small caves that you could fully explore in a very short period of time to just these gigantic, like, mazes almost, that had a great deal of variety and looked awesome. Oh, we've actually got a dungeon right now. This might get dangerous. Let's see, I gotta get rid of the water, that's important. You know, I was not expecting to find a dungeon, or I think it's called Monster Room officially. Wasn't expecting to find that so early on in the game. I wonder if it's a skeleton dungeon, or... Oh, it might be. Because I just see another skeleton right there. Let's see. I've got some mutton on me, so I'll definitely want to use that. Ooh. Good. Make them fight each other. That's perfect. So this'll actually be really good. Yeah, having this so close to the spawn area will be super useful when I decide to make it a mob grinder. I think that they've now got it so that soul sand can be used for that. Like, you can put water above soul sand, which will boost skeletons to the top. I remember making... Oh, and there we got some iron. Perfect. I remember making a mob grinder in a more recent version. Oh, and we've got a lot of good stuff here, too. Yeah, and the mob grinder did use soul sand from the tutorial I followed, so probably gonna take me a while to figure out these new mechanics, but it'll definitely be worthwhile because that'll get us a ton of experience, bones, and arrows. I might not be able to fit all of this in my inventory, but the bucket is gonna be extremely useful. A bucket of water, I think, is one of the most useful items in all of Minecraft. So now that I'm out of this cave, I'm gonna head back to the little base and put a lot of this stuff in storage because my inventory is packed right now. Okay, so I've just now crafted a new iron pickaxe, and I'm just gonna toss this stone pickaxe. It's not a smart plan, but I just do not want to lower myself to having to use stone tools. I'll keep my first wooden pickaxe just because it's my first pickaxe, and even tool for that matter, that I crafted in this world, but stone? Actually, I do have a stone and a shovel and axe, so I should add the pickaxe in the chest either way, but you know what? No, I refuse. I'm just gonna toss them out and let them despawn, because that's the kind of person I am. Okay, so now it's a new day. I was hoping not to have wasted the previous day on doing that menial stuff, but, you know, it is what it is. So now I'm gonna continue to collect a bit more wood, and then hopefully we're gonna start on the actual house later on. First, though, what I want to do is grab some water. Let's see. There's some water over there. Or I should actually go further up. In Minecraft, I find the bucket of water to be one of the most useful items in the entire game. On the surface, it doesn't seem like it does too much other than simply being able to create obsidian, but it has many purposes that it can be used for. For example, it can block fall damage, you can extinguish yourself if you've been lit on fire, you can, of course, turn lava into obsidian, you're able to travel upwards vertically with it, you can use it to suppress explosions, and several other things. I think that it's extraordinarily useful in the game, and I always try to have it in my hotbar. You know, on my phone I've got a few talking points for this video because, as said before, it's difficult to come up with enough to talk about to fill up an entire 20-plus minute video, so I have a list of stuff, and one of the points is about how my last survival video kind of bombed, so I was hoping that this one would potentially be able to sway viewers, but surprisingly, my survival video just over the past 24 or 48 hours has actually kind of exploded. It doesn't have a crazy view count, but the actual number of watch hours has increased quite a bit. I'm not sure why, because it seems like the number of actual impressions, based on what YouTube Studio is showing me, doesn't seem to be that large compared to what it was before, so I'm not sure if it's just the case that you've got a few people who just have replayed the video a few times, or maybe one person has shared it amongst their friends. I'm not entirely sure, but either way, I definitely cannot complain. I appreciate it quite a lot for anyone who's still here from the first episode. So what I'm currently doing is I'm looking for an area to build the house. I probably want to have it somewhere in that area because I want it to be close enough that I can reach the village easily, because I think that we're going to be spending quite a bit of time in villages. They're pretty overpowered, but there's a lot you can do with them. And is this the guy? I think you're the pig who told me off in the last episode, aren't you, buddy? I think that I'm gonna name you Jimbo. Sound good? Oh. Well, alright, Mr. Piero. I'll call you that then. We'll probably talk again soon. You know, maybe I can actually give you that name tag. You can be the first mob that I ever name in the game. Let's see what's in this little tunnel. I know that there was a place we explored briefly in the last episode, so I'm not sure if this connects to it or is just adjacent to it. Probably don't want to explore too much because I've got quite a bit of experience built up and don't want to lose it. But at the very least I can collect some of this copper. I still don't really know what dripstone does in Minecraft, but if I were to guess, I'd say it's probably just an aesthetic thing, maybe? Alright, so now let's stop playing around, and let's... Actually, first, I still do kind of want to play around. Ah, I missed. I was hoping I could hit that sheep. Oh, but the egg did actually hatch a baby chicken, so I'm happy with that. Okay, so the first thing I want to do now is I'm going to clear out an area for the house. I don't really know how big I want the house to be, and in this first episode it's probably going to be relatively small. It's probably going to be just a box with maybe a little bit of extra, you know, an east and west wing to it, but over time I'm hoping to build it up into a large manor. Even though I'm playing this series on a modern version of Minecraft, a lot of my content is revolving around older versions, so I imagine that a few of my viewers are fans of the Golden Age versions of Minecraft, as they're called. So for those fans, I'd ask you, or even fans in general, has anyone seen the new video by Dialco? I think that's how you pronounce his username. I hope I didn't butcher that. He made a new video that was called... It was a new installment. Let me actually look up what it was called. It was called Creepy and Weird Old Minecraft Videos. I really recommend checking it out, even if you aren't generally fans of the Golden Age era of Minecraft. I think it's really interesting and highlights a lot of videos, several of which you've probably never even heard of before. Yeah, probably should have built another shovel, oh well. I think that, in general, those kinds of videos where it's just a lot of the more uncanny things that you see in Minecraft, I think a lot of the older Minecraft videos that are more horror-inspired, a lot like the fake Herobrine sightings and all, I really do love that stuff. Even though a lot of it is very obviously fake, like even a rookie could tell that it's scripted, I think something about just old Minecraft's aesthetic really makes it seem a lot more feasible. Like, even for me, as a child, even though I didn't think Herobrine was a ghost or anything supernatural like that, I did believe that he did exist in some form, you know, maybe as some kind of very rare entity that would appear on occasion, that was just very rare, and only sometimes would be visible for the player, that did lots of creepy stuff. You know, as someone who didn't know that much about Minecraft, and it was during an era where Minecraft wasn't nearly as well known as it is now, I think that it definitely did seem possible from young me's perspective. A lot of the more modern stuff has really good production value and is a lot more competently made, but I do feel that it is a bit, or I wouldn't even say over-edited, it seems a bit less believable that it could actually exist in Minecraft, and I don't even think it's the video uploader's fault at all. I think it's mostly just that at this point Minecraft is just so well known and there's so much documentation on it. The idea of any kind of hidden entity seems a lot more far-fetched than it did back, 12 years ago. But then again, I was a kid back when Herobrine was at the height of its popularity, so I could just be talking from a nostalgia perspective. So let's see, I probably should make another shovel from iron. I know I say that I don't like to use stone tools, but shovels I don't mind as much as I do pickaxes. With a stone pickaxe, you're a lot more limited in what types of materials you're able to mine. You know, you can't mine diamond or gold or redstone with stone, so at least with the shovels and axes, the tools still have the same functionality, they're just slower and less durable. I'm probably going to do a lot of skipping around at this point, where I'm just clearing out a flat area, because I feel that's definitely one of the more uninteresting aspects of this. I've imagined that most people don't want to just watch a guy just digging in a circle for however many minutes, you know, so that largely plays into why I did start playing modern Minecraft for this series rather than beta 1.7.3. Because modern Minecraft, there is definitely a lot more to do, and the RPG elements, while I take some issue with certain parts of that, do make the game a lot more entertaining from the audience's perspective, I think. If it was in beta Minecraft, the majority of it would just be me trying to come up with my own redstone project, and it would mainly just be me standing around going, let's see. Maybe. Yeah, probably I'll do that. You know, so it's definitely not a very fun time for you guys, I wouldn't think, watching me just mumble around like that. Oh no, look at who I just saw. I really don't want them to interrupt what I'm doing, and I know that if I kill the dude with the sign over there, the banner, it's gonna put the curse on me, which means that I'm not going to be able to go to the village without triggering a raid. And since we're going to go to the village next episode, that causes a big problem for me. I don't even think I could take these guys without any armor and just an iron unenchanted sword, so I'm just going to hope that they don't harass me. I see... Oh no, that's a cow over there, so it looks like there's 3 of them. And one of them, it looks like might have an enchanted crossbow? I can't tell. How many arrows do I have? 8. That would probably be enough to take out at least one of them, but... I don't know. I don't have any lava on me, so... Fighting off the guy with the banner would be a mistake, I think. But now I've cleared out what should be... probably a big enough area to build the house. So now I'm just going to clear a little bit of this grass, and then we're going to start to actually build the place. We're not going to have enough room to make it too large, but I think that probably about this size area I can use. Ah, there goes my last shovel. But since it's about midday, hopefully they won't attack me before the sun goes down. And then once I head back to my bed, which I should bring over here, once I bring my bed over here, they should hopefully have despawned. So let's see, I'm gonna try and build the start of the house. Let's see, 10 by 10. Even though I mentioned that I want to make this my own original design, I do think that YouTuber Professional NoobTube, who I'd mentioned earlier, I think that I want to go for his general aesthetic, you know, where it is a very wooden house, which has a main central hub area, I guess you can call it, and then several rooms that extend beyond that. And yeah, these guys, I think I should be in the clear. All I gotta do is just convert these logs into planks. This would be a lot easier if I had a shovel right now. So I've got the floor made. Now I'm going to build the walls around the house. I do like having wood logs around the actual door frame. I'm not sure if I want to use an oak wood door, or if I want to use a birch door. Probably oak would be best. And let's see. I'm wondering if I should try to take out one of these guys. I could get a bow. Let's see. This is probably gonna come back to bite me, but let's see. Oh yeah, they're coming after me. Okay, I got one of them down. Ooh, do you think that the pillagers can actually attack themselves? Yeah, I'm not going to test that theory. Oh, I see. There's even more of them than I thought. Okay, time to head back to the base. Hopefully they don't follow me all the way back here. They do move quite fast. Alright, looks like I've lost them. I had turned behind me. Imagine if I wake up and they're just right outside my house ready to just completely demolish me. That would be pretty scary. You know, the sunflowers do, honestly, in the inventory look a lot like gold coins. I think on Hypixel's server they even have done that in some of the mini-games. Just take a sunflower and call it coin or token, which is a pretty good idea. I don't know why they don't have the stem on the inventory icon, but, you know, I dig it. Alright, onwards to a new day. Hopefully those pillagers won't see me. Hopefully they've despawned by now, but they might still be in the area where I left them. Which would be right around here, I think. There's a creeper. I don't want to mess with that guy. Actually, you know what? I should. You know, I'm tired of this guy giving me a hard time. It's time to fight. Oh no. Well, great. That guy just ruined everything. I will be replacing creeper holes and filling them up with dirt. You know, some people don't, and that's always been a pet peeve of mine. You know, whenever I'd watch Minecraft YouTubers, their worlds would be completely filled with creeper holes, which is just so unappealing. Okay, so it looks like those pillagers are gone. Let's see, this is probably a bad idea, what I'm doing right now. Oh, yeah, that was really bad. Well, there goes my idea of trying to save up my experience for whenever we get an enchantment table. This would be a really bad idea to attack that guy, but I wouldn't say I'm really known for making the best choices when playing Minecraft. Oh no. Alright, let's actually see if I can play this smart. Aw, did he go? Did he leave? I was gonna try and take him out, but it looks like he is gone. That's too bad. Okay, so now I've got a bunch of logs. Let's try to build up this house. You know, I recently watched the movie Reservoir Dogs by Tarantino. I watched it just Saturday, if I'm not mistaken, or no, I watched it on Friday, actually. And what I found so funny is that literally just the day after, my buddy and we were in a Discord call, and so my friend was playing Telltale's The Walking Dead for the first time, and one of the villains in it happens to actually be voiced by Michael Madsen, who was in Reservoir Dogs, as a possibly equally messed up villain. I don't know who's more evil, but it just was such a funny coincidence to me, especially since those are the only two roles I know that dude from. I find that just digging up the dirt like this so that I can terraform the area is a pretty tedious task that is a real pain to do, but I guess the same could be said for all manual labor. It is really tedious and exhausting. The thing about that is that I've actually been wondering something. With the rise in AI, and lots of people worried that it'll take their jobs, ranging from actors to programmers to artists to filmmakers, I wonder, do you think that it could be possible that eventually physical labor jobs will be what's considered really in demand, an elite job? Because right now engineers are considered the job that you want to get for a high salary that's reliable, but with AI that might take over a lot of these people's jobs. You know, doing yard work, for all we know, might end up being what's actually really high paying in the future. I think that the AI revolution is just such an unknown variable, you know. I have zero clue where things are gonna go, whether it'll be a net positive or net negative in society. Really all just depends on how much people allow corporations to use it to their advantage, and whether or not the people will stand up against AI being used as a means to replace workers. The day is coming to a close, so I'm going to quickly craft a door, and this is a moment of truth. Will I use an oak door, or will I use a birch door? I don't really know, but I'm kind of leaning towards oak right now, even though I think I often prefer birch visually over oak doors, but I think this actually looks a bit better. It fits more, it feels more natural. I just don't know why they give you 3 doors. Like, I don't recall if I had complained about this in my last video, but it's always driven me crazy how in modern versions they make it 3 doors you get whenever you craft a door in Minecraft. Like, 2, great, makes sense. You know, you can make double doors with that. I'm all for that, but 3? Whoever would use 3 doors for 1 entrance, you know? Like, yeah, you're being generous at Minecraft, but there's a certain point when it just gets a bit ridiculous. So now I want to put a few torches outside the house, because the last thing I want is for a creeper to blow me up right after I've already built this place. So after that, all I need to do is just create a roof, and we'll be done with the initial structure. I certainly am going to expand this a lot in the future, because right now this shack is pretty weak looking. For those who might want to know what video editor I'm using... Actually, what am I doing? Why do I have 2 shovels here? The video editor that I'm using is DaVinci Resolve, which I've been using for pretty much all of my YouTube videos so far on this channel, and I think it's pretty good. It's a completely free program, so you don't need to spend however much money a month for it, and it gives you a lot of useful features. I'm sure that there exist programs that are a lot better in terms of what is available to you, but this seems to be the most reputable free editing software that I can find. So, for anyone who might want to create their own YouTube videos in the future, I'd say give DaVinci Resolve a try. Have you guys ever noticed how older films seem to have extremely loud music? I was at an assisted living place. Well, I'm not an actual resident there, but I was visiting an assisted living place on, I think, Monday. And at the place they had, in the main activity room, they had one of the old Frankenstein movies with Peter Cushing playing, and at first I was confused why it was so quiet. Like, I could barely hear the voices, and especially in a place like that, where many of the residents struggle to hear, you'd think that it would be a lot louder. But then the music started playing, and it was like, oh, yeah, I see why they had it quiet. You know, it went from being a 5 in terms of volume to 50 real quick. So right now, all that's left for the house, for what we're going to do initially, is windows and finishing up the roof. I think that I'm going to call it quits after that, because I have to get up early tomorrow for something, and right now my headphones are falling apart. These headphones are terrible. Like, they're literally being held together by tape because they've been broken for a good while. And I do have, actually, another pair of headphones that I normally use, but the microphone on them is in very poor condition, so I try to not use them for recording, because otherwise my audio would just make what my current poor audio quality is look like a masterpiece by comparison. It would sound like the Ludwig von compared to, I don't know, Justin Bieber, you know? That's just how big of a difference it makes, just how bad my current headset is. So I'm not entirely sure how I'm gonna go about this. Probably just gonna start something like this. think this is what modern players do. Actually, I think something I should do for the roof, if I'm not mistaken, I can place the stairs upside down, which will make it look a bit more detailed. So I definitely want to try that out. Hopefully it won't look too bad, since it is a bit of a small house right now. So far, this recording has actually been a bit longer than the last one, but I think in the last one I had more stuff to talk about, so this one should hopefully be edited a lot more and be closer to the 20-minute goal that I set. Because I do know that it can be a bit of a chore to watch a survival video that's an hour long. I'd have to do that every week or however often I upload. It's similar to a lot of movie series that go on longer than necessary. After a certain point, it starts to feel more like homework than anything when you need to watch however many movies to see the new hot one that's coming out. You know, something that I think is kind of messed up about this game, these zombies are clearly humans who have been mutated, right? Or zombified, I guess, because they share the default player skin. So these zombies presumably were human at a point. Oh no, there's another pillager squad over there. So when you have rotten flesh and you're eating that, would that not make it cannibalism? Or because it's flesh taken from a zombie, does that no longer count as human meat? It's hard to say, but I'd think that would still be considered cannibalism, right? Alright, just a little bit more, and we are golden. Oh. We are golden now. So now I'm just going to use the water bucket, and I failed the water bucket clutch. Let's see, so... I do kind of want to adjust this. It feels like something is missing. Let's see, I'm going to try to have the wood extend all the way to the top here. But I changed all of the logs to planks. Well, give me a minute. I'm going to grab a bit more. Alright, I've collected the last of the logs that I need to, and so now we're going to finish this bad boy because my headphones are progressively sliding further and further off of my head, so I want to wrap this up quick. Let's see. It doesn't look great, but I think it's fine for what it is. What I'm curious on, should I make this into glass panes? It would give me a larger number, but I often don't like the way glass panes look in the game. Oh well, let's try it. I do definitely prefer the glass texture over how it used to look. Even though the 1.14 texture update I tend to have mixed opinions on, glass I think just looks so much nicer now. The old glass texture was just so ugly, I feel. So let's try also creating a few more stairs just for the front part. I don't think I need to bother with the sides as long as I can get a decent enough picture for the thumbnail. And yeah, I think that actually looks pretty nice. It looks a bit more cozy with these stairs now. You know, a bit more detailed. I think that looks like a pretty big improvement. And so now I'm just gonna put some glass panes up here. And I think I'll just put some to the side, and then that'll be it. Oh, it's raining. Did it really have to kill the mood like that? Hopefully there isn't a thunderstorm. And I wonder if we're eventually going to see a charged creeper naturally spawn. Because in my entire life of playing Minecraft, which has been the majority of my actual life pretty much, I don't think I've ever come across a naturally spawned charged creeper before. I've spawned them in and used mods that would spawn them in, and I know that I can use the trident to create some, but I don't think I've ever actually come across one that had actually been struck by lightning in the world. Imagine if it just strikes down the house and burns it down. That would be bad. But yeah, I've made a bit of a modification to the creepers, which hopefully you might appreciate if we ever see any. This episode was quite productive. We built a house, got a lot more coal and experience, even though we lost it shortly after. But now that we've got our respawn point set, I think that we can head over to the village soon, which... I saw some pillagers over here, but hopefully they've despawned by now. Yeah, looks like it. So okay, that will be our main priority next episode. Go to the village, and probably find some more ores so I don't have to keep using stone tools. And that's about it. Thanks for watching. Keep on rockin'.